Welcome to another episode of Movie Talk. I'm your host, Matt Monroe, and today I'm joined by what might be my permanent guest yet. I don't really know. We were talking before I started recording here, and he's kind of okay. But his name, what's your name again? Gabe. This is Gabe. Of course, no. I'm joking. We are actually good friends. We work together at the movie theater, so I thought it would be very fun just to run the show with you.
Yes. I'm so excited. I'm so happy. Because I love movies. You love movies.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
To start off our episode, we're actually going to be reviewing Barbie and Oppenheimer, but we thought because the meme Barbenheimer, that's what it was called, Barbenheimer, came out, we were like, hey, let's do the episode together and let's talk about both movies.
Both of them.
Although, I just want to say it just right out the gate before we get into this review, you cannot compare these two movies.
You can't. They're tonally different. Like, one's really bright and one's, like, serious and, not dark, but it is a serious movie.
Yeah, you're talking about Barbie, the serious dark
Yes,
Barbie.
Oh, absolutely. Barbie takes itself very seriously.
Yes. Well, no, I just want to say it off the bat. It's like the people who are like, oh, Barbie's better than Oppenheimer, Oppenheimer's better than Barbie. It's just like, they're not the same. Yeah, like, you can like one better than the other, but one is not better than the other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But let's just jump right into this Barbie review.
Hey, Barbie. Can I come to your house tonight?
Sure. I don't have anything big planned, just a giant blowout party with all the Barbies and planned choreography and a bespoke song. You should stop by.
So cool.
You can find me under the lights, diamonds under my eyes.
It's the best day ever.
It is the best day ever. So is yesterday, and so is tomorrow, and every day from now until forever. Do you guys ever think about dying?
Barbie was directed by Greta Gerwig. It stars Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling. With an estimated budget of right around $100 million, it made about $1.4 billion.
Yeah, that's really impressive.
Yeah, you want to talk about profit.
Yeah, I think it was like opening weekend too. I think it already made its money back.
Yeah, I think it did too. I think I remember hearing that. I wish I got the opening weekend numbers because it was insane.
It was ridiculous. We both work at a movie theater.
Yeah.
And I wasn't working during it, but I think you were?
Yeah, it was insane.
What do I have to do?
You have to go to the real world. You can go back to your regular life, or you can know the truth about the universe. The choice is now yours.
The first one, the high heel.
You have to want to know, okay? Do it again.
Closer I am to find. Closer I am to find.
I'm coming with you.
Okay.
Let's move into some of our positives here. And if you mind, I'm just going to get us right going because we share a similar positive here. Yep. It's Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling was fantastic in this.
Yes.
There were times where he acted very childish, like as Ken, and that's what I really liked because it was just like he was being really goofy and he wasn't taking his role like too seriously, and he was just having fun with it. But like he was still acting to his best. Even during the interviews, he was like talking to people, and he's like, "Oh yeah, they're just kenning. They're kenning all over the place. They're just being kenned." Like really, he was the best.
The interviews with Ryan Gosling for this are so funny.
So
I do have to just bring up one. I have no idea if he was just being funny and came up with this on the spot.
Yeah.
But he has two little daughters. I want to say both under the age of 6.
Yeah.
And he said he read the script and was interested in doing the movie, but really didn't. I don't think he got the full picture yet. So he was like 50-50 on it.
Yeah.
And he said he walked outside into his backyard and saw a Ken doll just face down in a puddle next to a half-cut lemon.
Really?
And he just goes, I have to tell this man's story. Which, again, I don't know if he came up with that on the spot. He is a really funny individual, which is something I want to jump into. And something you were bringing up a little bit is we've known Ryan Gosling as, like, this heartthrob. You know, and I think that's where he got famous. And then we've seen him do these serious action movies like Blade Runner.
And Drive.
Yeah. And Drive. And he's
The Place Beyond the Pines.
The Place Beyond the Pines. He's incredible. He brings this... I can't think of the right term, but he's just very serious.
Yeah.
The faces he can make...
Stoicism?
Yes. He's
brings
very...
a certain
he's very stoic.
Yeah.
But with this movie... He just throws it all out the window, and he does something that might be even better than anything he's done before because the comedic performance he gives here is perfect. Yeah. I knew he was funny. I've seen Crazy Stupid Love, and that's a really funny movie with him in it, and he's really funny in it. This is without a doubt. This is his Step Brothers, like his Will Ferrell funny performance,
Yeah.
in my opinion. He just killed it.
Oh, have you seen Nice Guys?
Yes. Oh, yes.
yes.
Yeah, you're totally right. I'm forgetting about one of the best comedies ever.
Exactly.
Yeah,
He was great in Nice Guys too. He's a very good comedic actor. He has so much range. We are literally only talking about Ryan Gosling for the rest of this episode.
Yes, yeah, literally this is
Pretty
now the
much.
Ryan Gosling
Yeah,
show.
this is the Ryan Gosling show.
But no, I think something that doesn't get enough attention is his comedic performances. I think he's known as that heartthrob, and he is known as that action star. But when he is in there and he's in a comedy movie, he's the best part.
He's the best part.
Yes, and he is the best part of this movie.
My first positive that I put was Barbie Land as a whole. It's not an original idea per se. It's like, oh, it's our world, but like there's another world in our world, like Lego Movie and like Elf even, which
Yeah.
also had Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
Both of them had Will Ferrell.
Yeah, both had Will Ferrell.
Yeah. Lego Movie.
No, there's no other. I thought there was another similarity for some
No,
reason. Yeah, I don't
but
think there
it's
is.
Lego Movie, Barbie, and Elf. They are kind of similar, but I loved just the atmosphere of Barbie Land.
I
Yeah.
completely agree, and that actually jumps right in to one of my positive, which is just how creative this movie was.
Yeah.
And continuing with Barbie Land, the fact that Barbie Land was all practical. And
Yeah,
they
you're
built
right.
out that world, and like you see Ken, he gets injured a little bit, and they like
Yeah.
bring out the old doctor set,
Yes.
and like just hold like a healthy hearts, and like
You're right.
it's
yeah.
so creative. It's to be like, oh yeah, this is what action figures do, or like the fact you never see someone take the stairs.
Exactly,
They just
they
fly.
fly down,
They fly
yeah.
down. I was just like, it's little things like that I think make this movie so great. And it's something that goes right to Greta Gerwig, that director. Who's I don't know if she's won an Oscar. Hopefully
I
has
think
won
she
an
did
Oscar.
Lady Bird though, right?
Yeah, she did Lady Bird.
Yeah.
I don't remember if she won
got
an
a couple
Oscar
like
for that.
indie awards for that.
She was definitely nominated. But Greta Gerwig really focused on the little details with this movie, and I think it's the little details that really shine through in some scenes, because it's just like, oh, that's so fun. Like, that's
Yeah.
so clever.
There were like multiple scenes, like at the very beginning of the movie, where Barbie was like in her house and stuff, and she was like pretending to pour the milk,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
like the waffles and stuff, and then she would just like pretend to eat it, and then dap her face with a napkin. It's like, and it was just so creative. Like she was in the shower and there's no
The water, she's like,
and then
yeah,
she was
yeah.
in the mirror, but it's just like there wasn't actual glass, and she was just like looking through the mirror at the camera. That was so like. You were completely right. Like the creativity at the of Barbie Land as
Yes.
a whole, it was so good.
So good, but even going to some of the more creativity, the costumes were
Yes.
so vibrant,
Yes.
colorful, great, and especially when they come into the real world, you get like this grayish
Yeah.
tone to it all, and then the Barbies and the
And
Kens
Kens,
like are just
like,
stand
super
out.
bright,
Yeah,
yeah.
I just thought that was great too, along with the plots. The idea that the Kens are just a product of Barbie,
Yeah.
and Kens really don't know who they are. And they have to go on a journey of self-discovery, similar to Barbies have to do, and the way they relate that to men and women in the real world, it was just all creative. And the way I, funny enough, explained it when I was talking to my girlfriend was like, I feel like it was just a success all around. They took off
Yeah.
the plane, there was no turbulence, they landed it was all good.
You're right. Yeah.
It worked. This is a movie by women for women.
Yes.
And all day long working at the movie theater, I see women of all ages coming
Oh,
out
yeah.
happy, loving this movie, and that's what this movie got made for. Like, that is the reason this movie exists,
Mhm.
and it's succeeding.
Yeah.
And I just think that's awesome.
My last positive for this movie is Alan. I think one of the things like behind the scenes that I really liked was his agent said no to the Barbie movie, and like he was like doing something, and his agent called. He's like, "Hey, just wanted to let you know, they were talking about this Barbie movie, and it was like really weird, and I told them that you probably wouldn't be interested." He's like, "Call them back right now. I want to be in the Barbie movie." And then they
I
made
haven't
him
heard that.
Alan. Oh, it was. I loved him as Alan. He was fantastic.
Let's get into our negatives here, though.
Yes.
Which we'll just say off the bat, we do not have many negatives. We
We
were
don't.
just sitting here praising this movie.
We love this movie.
Yeah, I love this movie. But the only negative I have, and it's
We both agree on it too. It's
Yeah.
the only negative I have as well.
oh yeah, it's your only
It
negative.
is. Yes, it's my
yeah,
only negative.
It, honestly, I don't think it's a big deal. I don't think it fully ruins the movie in any way.
No.
I don't even think it's a big impact. It's just something I wish was explained more.
We gotta say this together. We gotta say it like at the same time.
How did Ken take control?
How did he do it?
It's not really explained.
It's not.
It's very strange how the jump. And again, this movie is under 2 hours.
It is.
I low-key appreciate that sometimes.
Yeah.
If this was just something they needed to cut out, I think it was an okay thing to cut out because it did not affect the overall message of this movie and the theme and everything they were going for.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when I was sitting in the theater, I was like, how did they just take over?
I thought that after the movie, like after I had watched it, I was like, Barbies were so powerful, and like they had the control, and like they wouldn't give Kens the light of day, right?
Right.
And then all of a sudden they come back and they're like, patriarchy? That was like the only negative.
Yeah, I was trying to I was like writing down my notes, trying to come up with anything, and I was like, I can't think of another negative.
I was writing down my stuff too, and I couldn't think of anything.
Yeah.
Literally anything. And then you're like, oh, this is my negative. I was like, wait, you're right, that's the only negative I have as well. And then I wrote it down. But it's just...
It's a great movie.
How did they do it?
It's a great movie.
It is a great movie.
It's just a great movie. Yeah, I have no idea the Kens did it, but it
doesn't ruin it. It's just a great movie.
It's just
fantastic.
a great movie, and you know it's made $1.4 billion at the box office. So the chances are you've probably seen it. But if you haven't seen it, go see Barbie.
Go see Barbie.
This is one of those movies that I think deserves its box office. I think it's a ton of fun. It's a really good time, and if you're nervous to see because it's the Barbie movie and you're like, oh, it might be for kids, it is not. This movie is PG-13. It is not for kids.
It's not. Well, okay, it is.
I don't know. I wouldn't know if I would say this movie is
That's
for kids.
true. I would not take my 6-year-old sister to go see it.
Right. Any kids who I like, this movie's going to go right over their heads. Like, the amount of times I hear parents walking out of that movie going, that was a movie.
Yeah, exactly.
It's always so funny because I'm like, yeah.
Yes, it is.
It's a Greta Gerwig movie. This is an Oscar-worthy director.
This movie will make you feel. This movie will make you think, and you can take your kids to go see it. They won't understand the message, but it will sit with you for days after you've seen it.
But that'll do it for our Barbie review. Let's move on to Oppenheimer.
Oh.
Gotta flip the page.
Flip the page. I mean, I've got the one.
Yeah, you got the page there. All right, so Oppenheimer is directed by Christopher Nolan, and it stars Cillian Murphy, Robert Downey Jr., and basically every other famous person in Hollywood.
Pretty much.
I want to just talk a little bit about maybe your expectations going into this movie.
I was kind of going into it thinking Christopher Nolan made this. It's going to be good. It's going to be serious. It's going to take itself serious. And it's just going to be like a 3-hour... Was it 3 hours?
Like 3 hours and like 20 minutes or something.
Yeah,
3 hours and 15 minutes.
This is going to be a 3-hour movie that I'm just going to sit through and be like, what is going on? But love it the entire time. Pretty much. That was my expectation.
This is a national emergency.
Detonators charged.
We're in a race against the Nazis. And I know what it means if the Nazis have a bomb.
So my expectation going in was I just don't love Christopher Nolan. I think his movies are incredible and he's an incredible director, but they're just not personally for me.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a lie to say that he's a bad director and makes bad movies.
Absolutely.
That's just not true. But I do feel like he overcomplicates things quite a bit when it doesn't need to be, and I think Oppenheimer suffers from that more than anything. But of course, we'll get into that when we get into my negatives.
Yeah.
If you want to start us off here with some positives.
Positives. So right off the bat, the cinematography in this movie, fantastic.
Yeah.
This thing was shot with 70mm IMAX film. It just shows like the colors in this movie were beautiful. I love his framing. And I love where he places the characters in the shot because he's working with like limited film. He's making every moment count, and it's just you can tell a lot of hard work was put into just the visuals alone.
I agree with that completely. I totally didn't even put that down as a positive, but you're right. The fact that this was shot on film, the fact that in 2023 you could go to a theater and see a 3-hour drama, some of it in black and white, shot on film, is incredible.
It's the best.
Yeah, and only Christopher Nolan would do it.
Exactly.
Again, I gotta give him love because later in this episode I am gonna just start trashing him.
Yeah.
But that's why I gotta give him love because he's so talented, and you wouldn't see anybody do that today. Yeah. Only Christopher Nolan would do that.
Because most of the like nowadays, the way movies are made, if they want a film look, they will shoot it on digital and then convert it to film. He did just film.
Yeah.
So
just film is so much more expensive.
It's so much more expensive. It's so much more difficult as well because the film cameras are crazy heavy. They're they're super fragile as well. Like if like a light isn't the right temperature, it will burn the film.
Yeah.
And like if it rains, that camera's gonna get destroyed. And
Yeah.
there are scenes where they film in the rain, and I'm like, ooh, how did the camera like?
Yeah,
Oh my god.
that can't be easy. Yeah, if you're shooting on film, you gotta know your foot candles.
Yeah, exactly.
you gotta be able to measure that out.
Yeah.
It's really precise.
Yes.
Shooting on film, it is very precise. And again, just giving Nolan love here. That's what Nolan is so good at. Like, Nolan is a precise filmmaker.
He's almost a perfectionist. I would say he is.
Yeah,
He
he's
likes
almost
to-
a perfectionist.
Yeah.
Moving in, my first positive here is all of the performances.
Yes.
There isn't a single person here who doesn't deserve an Oscar. Everybody is off the charts. And I gotta give love to Nolan for it. Nolan is so good at working with actors. Every
Yes.
single one of his movies, the performances are insane. Even if you go back to Insomnia with Robin Williams. Great performance. It's
Insomnia?
You've never seen
I've
Insomnia?
never seen Insomnia.
Oh, Robin Williams plays like a serial killer. I highly
Really?
recommend. Yeah, really good. They came out like 2002, I want to say. Really recommend that movie.
I should see that.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
sounds
yeah.
fun.
It's not one of his best, but it's a really good movie.
Yeah.
But all the performances here and the two standouts. Of course, Cillian Murphy is a standout.
Absolutely.
Robert Downey Jr., Emily Blunt, Florence Pugh, like the stars in this movie are all standouts. But the two people that like really stuck with me were, what's his name? I wish I wrote it down. Alden Ehrenreich. Ehrenreich. Alden.
Who is that?
He played young Han Solo, and he played Robert Downey Jr.'s
Oh,
lawyer.
yes, you're right. Yes, he played
Alden.
I
I'm
loved
gonna put
him
the
in
name
this.
here at the bottom. It's
Yes.
like Alden Ehrenreich or something. I'm pretty sure I'm
Yeah.
right. And then was Benny Safdie was the other guy who stood out.
Yeah.
I love the Safdie brothers. I just thought his role was very fun.
They did Good Times, right?
Yes,
Yes,
they did
yes.
Good Times. Yeah, really good movie. And Uncut Gems.
Why would we go to the middle of nowhere for who knows how long?
Why? Why? How about because this is the most important thing to ever happen in the history of the world?
You're the great improviser, but this you can't do in your head.
Are we saying there's a chance that when we push that button, we destroy the world?
Chances are near zero.
Near zero.
What do you want from theory alone?
Zero would be nice.
One of the positives that I have directly, you just talked about, was Cillian Murphy himself in this movie.
Yes.
I think he did fantastic.
Yes.
I think he just played Oppenheimer so well. The way he just like zones out throughout the entire movie, but you can tell he's not just acting. He's probably actually thinking about what Oppenheimer did. He's really living this character. And every time he gives that dead stare, you're like, what is going on behind those eyes?
Going on with some positives here. Again, only Nolan. Just a very minimal use of CG.
You're right, yes.
All of the bombs, practical. The explosions, practical. The sets, practical. Just, it's not something you see today. We live in a Disney MCU world.
Yes.
Where there's green screens and big CG villains and sky beams. And it's just when you get something like this and it's real, you just feel it. You can feel it on screen, and I love it. Do you have any other positives, or is that the end?
Those are the main ones that I had.
Yeah. Moving on to the negatives, which my first negative is one people have been talking about, and it's just the runtime.
It is.
You know what? I'm someone, when Avengers Endgame, 3 hours long, let's go.
Yeah.
That movie needed to be 3 hours long. The Batman, 2 hours, 48 minutes.
Yes.
Let's go. I'm so hyped for this. Oppenheimer at 3 hours, though.
Is it what, 3:15?
3:15?
Yeah.
That's a little much.
It was...
you gotta keep that at a 2:30,
Yeah.
in my opinion. The movie just went on for a little bit too long. And I can't exactly pinpoint things to cut out, because the way the
Yeah.
movie's edited, it's kind of impossible. Because it just is all edited out of order. So it's kind of tough to be like, oh, you could have taken out this plot point. Because,
Yeah.
it all really works together. So I'm conflicted about it, because I like it when studios give the runtime a director wanted.
Yeah.
Like, Christopher Nolan wanted 3 hours and 15 minutes, and they gave him that, and I'm very happy that the studio trusts Nolan to do that. It's just too long. It was too long.
It was. There were many times in the film where I'm like, oh, the film's about to end soon. It looks like it's about to, like, it's like ramping up to the end. And then it just keeps going.
It just kept going.
I think it went on for a whole other hour. Like, I was like, oh, the movie's about to end. This would have been a great ending. And then I'm just sitting there like, okay, when is it going to end? My negatives that I have for this film are a little less serious than, like, Matt. It's not, like, something that really affects the film or anything like that. He cheats on his wife, man. That was so sad.
All right. But I'm going to argue this a little bit.
Yeah.
This actually happened.
This actually does happen.
This happened. So, like, can it be a negative?
Of course, this is historically accurate, and I can't really, it's like, he did this in real life, but, dang it.
Just makes you want to not root for me, like, that's I don't want to root for you.
Yeah, I didn't want to root for Oppenheimer at that point, and it's just like, the scenes where he is cheating on his wife, it's so awkward. It's just like, he doesn't want to be there, and he's doing it specifically for the person that he's cheating on her with. And that just like made me really, it kind of took me out of it a little bit. It's just like, yes, it happened in real life, but wow, it was depressing.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I honestly, I think I actually enjoyed that bit of the movie.
Really?
Because I think, and you know what, I'm saying right now it's historically accurate. I have not looked up if it is. I take it is, but I can also understand why Nolan might add it.
Yeah.
Because truthfully, if you look at Oppenheimer, it's kind of easy to dehumanize him as a character because like his brain, and that's really what this movie is about. And so I do think adding like a love that is like this forbidden love, I think to quote Game of Thrones here, interestingly enough, the things we do for love, I think that's a very human idea and a very human theme. Like, what are we gonna do for love? And I think the fact that they gave Oppenheimer love that was forbidden and that he wanted to do it just made him more human. Moving on here to one of my other negatives, and this is a negative that I give to every single Christopher Nolan movie. I don't love the way they're edited.
You were so right.
I think his editing is all over the place. It is confusing. I genuinely, at this point, after, again, I saw the movie like a month and a half ago, so that sort of makes sense. But at this point in time, I cannot tell you who Robert Downey Jr. was or what his character name was, but he had about as much screen time as Oppenheimer.
Pretty much.
And I think that's due to editing. Because, like, we're cutting before the bomb, we're cutting after the bomb, we're cutting during the bomb, now we're before the bomb, now we're after the bomb. Some's in black and white, some's not in black and white. Like, was is just, like, it... I had a friend say this to me, and I do believe it to be true. I remember when it got announced, Nolan isn't going to explain the physics behind how this bomb works. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, don't confuse the audience so much with this physics, because not everyone's going to understand it. I think when he realized he wasn't going to explain the physics, he realized he had a very simple movie on his hands. And he was just like, oh, what do I do? And he's like, I'm going to edit the hell out of this.
Yeah.
And then it decided
ridiculous.
to go crazy. And it was way too confusing for this story. I would prefer this story to just be told in order. I just think that would make sense. Yeah. I don't see why you have to cut this up. But the final thoughts of Oppenheimer are, it's incredible. Go see it. I just personally really didn't love it, and I thought it was way too long.
I agree.
Yeah, pretty sure that'll do it here for this episode of Movie Talk, Gabe. This is definitely probably our last episode together. No,
absolutely. I'm definitely not the new permanent co-host right now.
Yeah, no. But yeah, so Gabe is actually the new permanent co-host here for the show. So monthly, it's going to be Gabe and I sitting down on this couch talking about movies, and I hope you guys are down for that.
Yes. Thank you for having me, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of you in our next little episode.
Yeah, right? Yeah, all the crowd right there. All the live audience we have.
Yes, we are actually filming this live on a set.
You can hear them all clapping.
Yes.
Put that in post. Cue post-clap. But all right, guys, that'll do it for this episode. Have a good one.